listening to the sultry sounds of Trilogy Productions.
I can't even listen too hard. I was like, that's crazy. I love this beat.
It is. It makes me want to talk sexy. I think I've said that before.
You do. You look sexy.
Can we continue?
Oh, you was talking hella shit before the show.
You don't see. You
she
stay
be
trying
to
to call somebody out as soon as you get in front of the podcast fans. Now you want to talk cash, but you be hella quiet when we be alone.
Do I? You be saying that about me though. Like I be acting crazy, like in public.
See how you
But
get
you do.
with
And then
the
you do
podcast fans.
Nah, cause you be like that on social media.
No, I don't.
You will quickly, like, in the middle of me, like, I'm at work. I'm working. I'm on live. Heart, eye emojis, and...
Okay, because you're fine. And I got to let everybody know. I mean, apparently, your friends don't give a damn because they was like, but all on your picture that you want to put on social media. I mean, I guess your picture was popping because you had all the ladies. And a couple of them almost caught these hands.
Did they?
You know you didn't introduce the show, right?
I didn't introduce the show, did I?
No. You happy to be here?
I am happy to be here. Oh, hold up. There it is.
I'm moving this squeaky chair.
I know, man. I'm tired of this chair. I'm about to switch chairs, too. Matter of fact. But, you know, this is the vibe.
You gotta get the vibe back?
You gotta get the feeling back.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you see that? Hear that? Ooh, yeah. I am VA Verse, and across from me, she's farther from me than normal, but across from me is my, let me drop my wonderful, beautiful, lovely, sexy wife Z.
And you're listening to For Better or Worse. We missed you guys.
Yeah, we took a week off. We had the stuff popping with What's in Your Cup. So first and foremost, shout out to
folk and ladies. Hey, boo. Man, that podcast was so much.
It was fun.
Like that was fun. But we will be collabing with them probably next month. We're gonna try to make that a thing because that was pretty fun. I really enjoyed myself. It was way fun. Like I knew it was gonna be fun, but it was better than I thought.
Yeah.
So shout out to folk and lady Tay 80. Hey guys.
Yeah,
It again.
It was hella fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I need to switch this chair, man. I need to switch this chair. So, why don't you give a shout out to our listeners, foreign and domestic?
Hey, international family. We definitely do appreciate you guys listening to and know that, we was all internationalized and things. But we definitely do appreciate all of our listeners. Don't you eat my candy. Don't you eat my candy. See, people be just giving you stuff and then take it back. Yes, it was. Anyway, we definitely do appreciate you guys. We appreciate all of our new listeners.
Oh, no, baby, you okay? You almost choked to death just now.
I did because I had candy in my mouth juicing. Sorry, guys. But
oh, my gosh. She almost died shouting out the fans.
I messed up. Let me get back to the mood. But yes, we definitely do appreciate all of our fans, all of the listeners. I don't like to call them fans. They're more like family.
I know. I felt weird when I said fans too. Just
Yeah.
now.
But we definitely do appreciate all of our
Listeners.
what's the word I'm looking for?
Supporters. Listeners.
Our diligent listeners, the ones that listen every week, consistent listeners. Thank you.
Yeah.
And we definitely do appreciate you guys for hanging in there with us, listening to all of our crazy stories. So thank you guys.
Hey, you need some water, baby? I need to get you some water.
No, my mouth is like real juicy. This is what happened when you eat candy before the podcast.
Yeah, I had some too. That shit was good.
Yeah, you was trying to eat mine just now. Sure.
Yeah. Well, like we said, it's been a little bit. We took a week off. We actually moved, and we had there was a trial period where we didn't have shit set up, like a lot of shit set up in the house. So we set up, we ready to go, and we coming back. We back every week, every Sunday. So yeah,
back at it like we never left. For sure.
For sure though.
Yeah, we definitely had some trials and tribulations that came, but glory be to Jesus. Thank you, God.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. And I cannot say that enough. This process is definitely, I've always had a love for Jesus, but this process has definitely made my faith stronger.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. Because, baby. So we can jump right into it. So we said that we was going to talk about it on another podcast, so one day, February 25th, 26th, 25th?
It was 25.
I had a meeting with my supervisor, come back to my desk, and I have a missed call from our leasing agent.
Property manager.
Whatever. And I called Verse, and I'm like, hey, because let me back up. We paid the rent. We always pay it early. Shout outs to being responsible.
Yeah.
But we always pay it early. But this time I noticed that we didn't have a balance. So I'm just like, why we got a balance? I was like, okay, I'm going to pay it anyway. It showed that we had a credit. So anyway, fast forward back to our warehouse. Came back, had a missed call Verse. I'm like, hey, I got a call from the leasing agent, property manager, whatever. Do you know why they would be calling? He said no. He said, go ahead and call them on three-way. We called them on three-way. No answer. So I go, well, they left me a voicemail. We checked the voicemail. Sure enough, on the voicemail.
Now pause. You checked the voicemail without me, I think.
Yes.
And then you called me with the voicemail. Now, when you were calling to check the voicemail, I had like this weird feeling like, damn, what if they saying like we can't renew the lease or something like that? Like, what if they saying like we got to get out of here? I was like, nah, I was like, that's just me being pessimistic. We were just talking about that word the other day. Mm-hmm. That's me being pessimistic, just thinking like the worst thing is going to happen. No, it's probably just.
But it's funny because simple. I thought of that around December. I was like, what if, because, the house was decked out and, it was Christmas Eve stuff. And I was like, man, it would suck that if all of a sudden we would have to move.
Yeah.
And it was just something that I just put out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I checked the message and then I'm in shock. So I call Verse back and I'm like, listen to this. And sure enough, I let the message play and the lady's like, oh, it's very weird that you guys paid your rent because the house is no longer for rent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Excuse me? How is the house no longer for rent? We still living in this mofo. Okay, so I'm trying not to panic because your boy is panicking a little bit. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's just talk to the lady. So
mind you, yes. Oh, so yeah, we didn't have a conversation with them, right?
Not then, but I was like, let's just have a conversation with the lady. So I called and called. She's not answering. So then I'm like, okay, when I get her on the phone, I'm gonna call you back. And I was just calling her. So then,
and the voicemail said that we were supposed to be out by the end of February,
by the 28th,
and it was the 25th.
It was 25th. So I finally get her on the phone. As soon as I get her on the phone, I call Verse. And we're all on the phone with her, and she's like, yeah, it's just weird because you guys paid your rent, and I thought you knew that the house was going to be for sale. And I'm like, lady, you called me 3 days before. Y'all claimed y'all knew. We didn't get a certified letter. We ended up having one email in our spam from the beginning of February that we didn't know anything about. And so I'm like, okay, well, we haven't even started looking for a place. We haven't even started packing anything. I'm like, we can at least get 30 days, right?
Yeah, well, I said it straight up. There's no way we're leaving in 3 days.
Right.
No way.
No possible way. So the lady's like, well, and I'm like, well, what? and she's like, oh, well, that's kind of up to the owner because they could file legal work and make it an eviction. And I'm like, the hell you will, seeing as though we lived in that house 5 years.
I'm sorry, pause. We lived in the house 5 years, pause right there. Can we give these two subjects, these two people, names? Not, can we give them names? Who you want to give them? Sarah?
Sarah and Ralph.
Sarah and Ralph? Okay.
So I'm like, we've been in this house 5 years and we've been late on our rent one time. And that's only because Verse ended up losing his job. And even then the rent was due on the 1st. I think there's no grace period. And we had it to them before the 5th. So it was like maybe on the 3rd or whatever. And that was the one time in 5 years that we were ever late with anything. Nothing really broke in the house. Whenever something did, we were understanding. The air conditioner went out twice in Arizona in the summer, and we still was like, okay, we were still pretty patient, sorta. I knew I had an attitude because I was just like, it's hot and we got kids, and you had that portable air conditioner, so we weren't too bad off. It was really good. It's kind of cool. So
it was clutch. The portable
we were very understanding, and I'm like, the hell you will be like, you gonna put this on our credit as an eviction?
Yeah.
The hell. So then Verse is all like, Z. He texting me talking about be cool because we need her.
Yeah, we need her. We need her to talk to the owner, and be on our side.
Yeah, so then she comes back talking about they can only give us until like the 18th, which gave us about 20 days.
Yeah, about 20
gave
days.
us 20 days to pack up a house that we've lived in for the last 5 years, to look for a place, and also to then move into a new place. And rather that we had already paid them rent.
Right.
So, which seems as though we still haven't received.
Instead of them kicking that back to us or whatever. So I think that in that situation, they saw it as an opportunity of like, okay, well, we have the money for it. If you need the money and they can't get out, then, take it this way rather than us evict them and you probably won't get the money now or get the money,
right.
How soon you'll get the money. You know what I'm saying? So I think that they saw it as an opportunity to come out of it better than having to evict us, because that was going to be the situation.
I wish Sarah and Ralph would have came over to that house talking about some goddamn on eviction. I would have burned that mother down. I really would have. But anyway, so it was just very stressful. As we're looking for places, it seems like the market is much different. Sounds like, bruh, it's meh.
The market is much different. So
everybody's trying to sell. So while everybody's selling, I ended up finding out that 3 or 4 people that I was working with were under the same situation that we were. And then we go to put in a bid or application for a house. You have 4 applications that's already there.
Already in.
For places. Places was getting scooped up right
underneath us. Like we would go visit a place and then take a day to think about it. You know what I'm saying? And then it would be a situation where, damn, it's gone. Like somebody took it and now we can't have it. Now we can't get the house. So there was plenty of times like that. A couple of houses that we thought we were ahead of and jumped on and just tried to pounce on it and still 2 to 4 applications ahead of us.
Just
2 or 4
back
applicants
to
ahead of us.
back, like even before it's on the market, before we're able to look at anything. So for the first, I want to say 7 to 14 days, we was just getting closed out. So then we were
Everywhere.
like, okay, well, we may not be able to find a house because everything is getting snatched up. What about apartments? Then we couldn't find this and we couldn't find that. And then they have these, they're the size of apartments, but they're basically homes, they're houses. But it's like a little community. It's like the little horror movies where all the houses look exactly alike, you know, and it was like those kind of houses. So
Wasn't
then,
scary though.
It wasn't scary.
Yeah.
They were pretty nice. So then we go and I put my application in and something shows up on my credit.
Right.
And I'm like, what is that? And so it comes from some apartment that we had 5 years ago when we woke
right
up.
Before we moved here.
We woke up and Brett's meh ended up having, was it a peppermint or it was candy or something that she ended up eating in our bed. Well, Brett's meh ended up dropping the candy behind
our
the bed.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
And we woke up to ants
all over
in
us, all
the
in
bed with us, crawling all over us.
No, what happened? Remember what happened was I think like the night before, I think we started like having the little ant issue or whatever. But we would like get like a few, and then we like look and be like,
but it wasn't on the bed.
Yeah, there's none on the bed.
And we were trying to figure out where it was coming from. We was just like, where? Why? I think they was like on the wall, and it was like maybe 1 or 2. And it was like, what is this? So, yep, that night I woke up and I pulled the covers back, and sure enough, ants was all over us.
And then we pulled that bed back.
We pulled that bed back, and it was like a peppermint or some kind. It was some kind of candy, but they was like ants galore. So that we removed. It was a sucker.
It was a sucker. Yeah. It was a
and so that happened one night. I want to say the very next night, if not a couple nights later, the either the roof or the wall was leaking, and as the roof or the wall was leaking, they was like, "Oh, we called the maintenance. We had to then move the bed again." And when we did, I think a pipe had burst or something. And then when the pipe had burst, they found mold in the wall or something like that. And they basically needed to rip up the carpet in the room.
Where are we at?
This is the same place.
The apartment?
Yes.
I don't remember the water thing.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And there was water or something. Because I remember Mom was there. And they said that could have been why she was sick. But anyways, what do you need, babe? Okay. So they ended up...
All right, don't just stand over us.
So they ended up needing to rip up the carpet. Well, going back to where we were, that chair squeaks, so you're gonna have to be still.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry. But it's meh. Just walked in the room.
Bothering us.
Here. So anyways, so they ended up having to rip up the carpet. But that was around the time we were moving anyway. So it was like, okay, well, whatever. We out. Y'all can keep the mold and the ants or whatever. So fast forward to now, and apparently these people put on our credit that they needed to rip up the carpet in the house. So they charged $300 as we moved out for the carpet.
Right.
But at this point in time, we have to move.
Yeah.
And it's on my credit. So I have to pay it,
And
which
like
I am disputing that. But anyway, so I had to go ahead and I had to pay it. We like, cool, everything will work out. They did the background check. Then I get a call from the people and they're like, yeah, we just background checked and everything's good. However, Verse, it looks like he has a felony. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I was like, my husband does not have a felony. They were like, yes, we are looking up the name, and yes, it shows that he has felony. And I'm like, you're not looking at the right person because my husband doesn't have felony.
No, the only one thing that's on my record is removed from it.
And which we talked about the last time on the podcast.
Yes. I think we talked about that with Rosemary.
Yeah. When people say
that one thing, that one thing's not on my record anymore. So.
Right. So then I'm like, no, you have the wrong person. So then they're just like, no, we have Verse and we have the person and their birthday is August 20-something, 1985.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you definitely have the wrong person, because my husband's
born in
birthday
88.
is September 15th, 1988. You have the wrong person. Oh, well, you guys are going to have to call the court, and you guys are going to have to get it figured out. And even then, you may not even be approved.
Which makes zero sense, because what they were basically telling us was that because they found somebody with the same name as me, or they're claiming that maybe somebody got arrested or had a case and they attached it to me instead of that.
We would have to call the court and get it
Terrell
fixed.
Robinson.
But if I'm telling you that you have the wrong birthday, that means you need to run that background check again, because you obviously have the wrong person. But they didn't want to run the background check again, and they're basically saying that we have to
And
get
the shit
this
was
fixed.
from 2010 or 2009.
A time when we weren't even in Arizona.
Oh, I think it was 2012. I think we were. No, was it? No, we were here. We had just gotten here though. We wasn't here that long. So they yeah. So I'm sitting here thinking like, damn, this is a situation where somebody got some shit on my record, and that's gonna fuck with a lot of shit. I'm like, what if I gotta do this? I gotta do. And as I'm thinking of shit that I would have to do that would interfere with a felony, I was like, wait. There's no way. If it's on my record since 2012, I wouldn't have gotten this job I worked at. I wouldn't have gotten that job I worked at. I wouldn't have gotten that job. I wouldn't have gotten approved for this
we
house.
We wouldn't have got anything.
Yeah, so like I'm like that can't be on my record. So
It's
I went.
it was obvious. I felt like they just didn't want us there, to be completely honest. And I don't be doing a little conspiracy or because I'm black kind of thing, but that definitely seemed weird. And then I ended up finding 2 other places, and I asked one of the ladies, I'm like, okay, hypothetically, and I told her, okay, well, if me and my husband did a background check, and the background check came back that he had a felony, he doesn't, what's the next step? And she was like, well, we would tell you that he has felony. If you're telling me that the birthday is incorrect, at that point in time, I need to go to my supervisor and say, hey, we need to run this again, because it's obviously not the right person.
Right.
She was like, whoever told you guys that didn't do their job, and they were being lazy.
Right.
So, which we kind of figured. But at this point in time, we're coming down to the wire. We don't have time to be sitting here fighting with people. And at this point in time, I feel like, okay, not only do we have 20 days, not only do we have to move, not only do we have to get up money, pull it out of every part of our body that we don't have, but now we got people lying on us and being like, you have this, and that's not the case, and when doors were closing left and right, we couldn't find anything. So at this point in time, I'm pretty defeated. I think we had a week, maybe less. It was probably less.
And we like $600-$700 in a hole of application fees.
Yes, just putting them in, just putting in application fees, or just paying application fees, putting in applications. So at this point in time,
if you're wondering why we put in so many applications that didn't go through, is we don't have the best credit scores as well. We don't have high credit scores, so places that we're looking for,
they're not bad credit scores, but they're not, because when we're looking for the type of place that we're looking for, they had to be really high. And even though we have moderate credit, but it's not outstanding, but it's not we can get credit cards, which is weird. I can get a credit card, but we're below average. Live.
I would say that. What?
We can get credit cards and things like that, but we can't live in the kind of place that we're basically used to. Yeah. So, it was just annoying. So at this time, we're just like, okay, I'm honestly defeated. I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point of being defeated. Yeah. And it's coming down to the wire. It's like maybe 6 days until we have to be out of the house. And we still are at square one. Mm-hmm. And I remember one of the other places, for whatever reason, we didn't get this place, and we had no other option. Like, we were just like, okay, what are we going to do? What's our plan A, B, and C? And I remember I couldn't hold it anymore. And I'm not too much of a crier, I would say. Well, in my old age, I tend to cry more. But I'm not too much of a crier, but I was just tired. After all this, I'm tired, and we trying to get everything together, and it's just not panning out. And I called Verse, and I'm telling him about another one of our many doors that I got closed in our face. And he's like, oh, it's okay. And I just start bawling. Like, I'm crying, and it's not even like, tear. No, I'm talking, oh God. Like, I am bawling, and I haven't cried that hard. And like, my chest was hurting, and it was like, I'm bawling. So he's like, it's okay. So he ended up going to some place, and that they end up helping you find a place. And while he was doing that, I called my mom, and I start bawling again. I'm like, as soon as she's like, hello, like, I'm just bawling. I'm bawling out of control, crying.
No, I was actually at the place, because you had called me and you were cool about it at first, and then I called the place, and then I went up there to the place, and then while I was at the place, you called me, and that's when, because I had to step outside. I remember that, because I couldn't. I was mad because I couldn't stay on the phone with you, because I was in the apartment finder place trying to get them to help, find us some shit.
Right. So after that cry, I was cool. Like, I was just like, okay, reset. I'm cool. But before then, I was just like, I felt so defeated. So, of course, but during this time, I will say that it was kind of for the best, because it did allow me to go to church, which I hadn't been in a while. It allowed me to have a stronger prayer life. It, of course, brought us closer together. And we had been in that house for 5 years, and it wasn't ours. It's something that we're renting. So it allowed me to see that I can never put myself or my family, definitely not my children, in a place where someone could come at any given time and be like, you can't stay here anymore. And they're able to take the roof from over my kid's head. So during this whole thing, we were just like, okay, like, our credit isn't horrible. Like I said, we're about average, and it's just not where we want it to be. So we just like, okay, it's time for us to buy. Because if we lose a place, it needs to be because of us, not because someone decides that they're going to take it away from us. And we're good. We're good tenants. We make sure that we do all this stuff. And I'm like, in 5 years, we could have been having a great mortgage, but we just weren't ready for a house. So anyway, so we get to, this last place that Verse found, and we were looking at it, and long story short, something else ended up popping up, but the lady, but out of everybody, this lady ended up, working with us and seeing, and, just kind of, she looked at us as people.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Go ahead. No, I was trying to piece together what you were saying.
Yeah. She ended up looking at us as people and not just as a number. And
we had, we got pretty much turned down from this place as well, from this last place. And the lady was willing to help us. Like, we were making an effort to correct the issue that we had that got us turned down. And the lady was determined to help us. She was determined to get us to get the right information and the right stuff together that she needed, so that she can take it above herself.
And I believe
get the denial overwritten.
Right. And I believe that is because we showed that we were able to do the work. And then we ended up getting approved for this place, which is great. Thank the Lord. Hallelujah. And then
thank you, Lord.
We had the process of cleaning out the entire old house, getting everything in storage, getting everything over here. Verse ended up hurting his Achilles in the process.
That whole moving process took 2 days, 2 full days.
48 hours.
2 full days. I think we started, you were at work on Friday. We started about 9 a.m. and we didn't finish up that night until around midnight. Was it midnight or at 1?
Yeah, it was about 12:31.
Yeah, so and then we was doing a whole bunch of shit. We moved, took a trip to the house, took a trip back to the old house, to the storage, back to the old house, to the new house, back to the old house, to the storage, back to the old house, to Salvation Army, then to freaking dump. I mean, you know,
Dumping.
dump
Yes.
the trash that we needed to dump and stuff like that too.
Look, feeling like some dang criminals. Just
So what's
one
up? She
second,
wants to say
guys.
something?
Bruh, it's man wants to say something.
See, this is what she does. This is what she can do.
Me alone.
She's gonna sit in so she can be like, I gotta say something real quick.
Quiet. Go ahead, babe.
Shout out to Nana, Jake and Josh, Uncle Jake and Josh, and Uncle Ray.
Okay. What we shouting them out for?
Because
For
they
helping
helped
us.
us.
Jake ain't help.
Jake ain't help. And Ray moved two things. But shouts to Ray. Oh, shouts
everybody
to
that helped. Shouts to
Ray
Josh.
Sean. Even though all he does is trying to beat me up. That's my nephew. Shouts to everybody that ended up helping us with
Shouts to Josh. Real big shout out to the homie Duke. He held me down on that situation.
He definitely helped a lot.
Yeah. And he stayed, and we talked when I drove him home, because he was supposed to be getting a ride home from somebody, but the person, I think that he didn't. I think he didn't want to help, and I told him that I was like, "Yo, you don't gotta help. We just like, you know what I'm saying, like stick around so you can take. That's helping me like to
First
take
and
him
foremost,
home and stuff like that.
why wouldn't you have wanted?
But
to
he
help?
he also had his nephew with him, and he was supposed to be trying to take his nephew back.
People are so trifling, and I don't believe that for a second. I don't think
it was
trife. All he wanted to do was drink that beer that he ended up getting from the store and chill out. Like, nobody asked you to help.
I don't think it was a trife situation. He
it
didn't
was
say,
a trife situation because you came over there, you knew that you were supposed to be taking this man home, and then you disappear, and no one ever hears from you.
And I'm trying to tell you that. All right, never mind. So then, So
explain.
I'm trying to tell you, but you don't want to hear.
Okay, but don't say never mind.
Okay, but I mean, I was going to explain, but you was like, So.
Go ahead, verse.
See how you roll your eyes at me. This how she get.
You could have been explaining.
I'm gonna explain. But there was a situation where he had to take his nephew back, and then he was waiting for his sister to come back from where she was going to take the nephew so he could come back out, and she didn't. So that was the situation.
Okay, you were waiting for your sister, and you, with the car, could not come back and get your cousin that you were supposed to have taken home. That's not no excuse.
Okay, but his cousin. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not an excuse. I see where it's coming from.
Anyway, we're gonna move on because.
I mean, say what you got to say. I didn't even know you felt this way.
I told you, I know, because I told you that was trifling then.
Okay.
And it's not even because you had to take Duke home. It was because of the simple fact of, if I come here to pick you up and you're not necessarily ready to go, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to run my nephew over to my sister's house, and then my sister isn't ready or whatever the case may be, I'm sitting, I'm going to wait for a minute, but I know that I still have to take my cousin home as well. Okay, if I'm still waiting on her, and if he's calling me, because you missed the fact that he was calling and he did not answer the phone. So therefore, if he's calling me and I'm still waiting for my sister, because that's the reason why I can't move, then I would at least call him back and say, hey, I'm waiting for such and such. Or I'm like, okay, sis, 1 second, I'm going to go back and go get Duke, and then we're going to come over here and wait until you're ready. That's bull crap, because he had his own vehicle. He could have shot. He shot everywhere else when he wants to get beer or when he wants to get faded. Oh, we can find 4 wheels and some keys for that, but we can't find 4 wheels and keys and know how to answer our phone when our cousin is stranded. The F out of here. That's ridiculous, and he was being trifling. But that's my rant in my soapbox, and I'm getting off of it because I know that's your friends, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but dude was trife.
You're not going to say too much about it?
Nope.
Okay, I feel you.
Anyway, they got me hot around the collar. Anyway, so shout out to Duke. He really pulled through, and he really ended up helping. Got me hot. Anyway,
yeah, you hot.
So it took a whole long time for us to get everything situated, and we got here, and then it was just a couple minor things that was happening around the house, but ultimately it's something that we prayed for. It's not the biggest place. It's not a house that we're used to, but it's definitely a roof over our head. It's definitely clean. It has most of the potential that we were looking for. Like, it doesn't have carpet, which we did not want carpet at all. It's a nice price so that we're still able to get our credit to where it's supposed to be, so that it will be able to buy next year. So it's definitely what we needed at this time. So I'm definitely very grateful, and all praises to Jesus, because that whole process was the hardest thing. Well, one of the hardest things that I've ever had to deal with. No, I would say
another one. I was about to say yeah. I mean, I get it too, because I would just say that's up there.
Yeah, it's definitely a part of the top 3. No, I've had another hard situation that I had to get through, brought on by you, but I had to. It's just something that you got to roll with the punches, and that's normally what I try to deal with. That's my motto in life: is you got to roll through the punches, and at one point in time, you gonna bend, but you don't break. So
yeah,
it was definitely difficult.
Yeah, that's a really rough situation, and I mean, still kind of has its residue on us right now, but things are a lot better.
A lot better.
We're feeling a lot better. Things are coming along. It was really rough the 2 weeks, and I know we touched on it like briefly because it was part of like a discussion we were having on the joint podcast we had. But it was really tough being disabled for a couple of weeks. Like, that was one of the craziest things. And what had happened was, apparently I strained my Achilles. In the move. I woke up the next morning because, like I said, we moved from Friday from like 9 a.m. to like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I woke up the next day. We woke up a little later, like maybe 10-ish or 11-ish or something like that. We woke up and I could feel some pain like in my heel, like, on the bottom of my foot and like kind of on the back of it too. Good night. But I just kept going. We still had hella shit to do. We still had hella stuff to move. And at this point in time, we didn't have the U-Haul anymore. So we had to do what we had to do. And I just kept going on that day. And I remember that night I woke up in the middle of the night and I needed to go to the kitchen to get some water. And I went and it was just hurting so much to walk. But I made it to the kitchen and back to bed. But that next Sunday morning, when I woke up, I could not walk on that fucking leg at all. I could not walk on that hill at all. Like, no weight, period. It was a lot of pain. And I remember that day, like I said, we touched on this a little bit on the last episode. But, Z was like, we should go to the hospital. And I was like, no, because they're not going to do much, but, tell me to ice it and elevate it and stuff like that. I can tell, because I could tell it's not.
That I had already told you to do, which you were not doing.
Yeah. So, yeah, you got to add that.
Yes, I do, because these are things that the whole Sunday, the leg could have been elevated, the ice could have been on it. And I'd rather listen to Google than listen to my wife. Why would I listen to Google? Because you looked up on Google and you was like, I don't need to ice it because they say that's for swelling and my ankle isn't swollen. I just can't move it. And that was
I know that ice is for.
But you told me that you looked it up. You was like, well, I looked it up.
Yeah, I tried to look up the classification of my injury, not necessarily of.
I'm just going off of what you told me, bro. And you said that was the reason, and that's why you didn't put ice on it. And I was like, okay, fine. And I'm like, okay, well, this whole day you could have had it elevated, you could have had the ice on it, but you didn't want to. So I was like, okay. So by that night, you was like, oh, I think you need to. I was just in a lot
of pain. It hurt at that point in time to ice it and to rest it kind of on anything. Like, I was in a lot of pain that day. And at some point in time I was like, okay, if I'm not getting, this is not going away or not feeling any better today, especially even not with the ibuprofens and stuff. So at this point in time, if I'm going to return to work, I'm going to need a boot or something. So I'm like, yo, let's just go to the urgent care or something like that tomorrow. Get it checked out, get it to see if I can, get a boot or something like that so I can, get back to work, because like we're in the middle of this situation where our money is a bit thin because we're dealing with a lot of stuff. Like we told y'all how much in a hole we were from, you know, the money that we spent on application fees and stuff like that, and getting the security deposit and the rent and all of that stuff. So missing days from work wasn't like an option at all. Needed that money. Like we need the money for us to, you know, continue to get ourselves good out of this hole, because we got goals and stuff that we want to do next month as far as in May for a vacation. So missing the days was not an option. So it's like, okay, we're gonna go. And Z was upset because, you know, she had said we should go to the doctor maybe on Sunday, and then, you know, on Sunday night I was like, you know, let's just go tomorrow.
I wasn't upset about it.
Stay home.
I wasn't upset. I wasn't upset that you wanted to go to the doctor. I just thought it was kind of good night. I just thought it was a little comical, because I was just like, okay, we could have definitely done this earlier. Good night, Leary. We could have done this earlier, but I mean, it wasn't something that we got sick time and stuff at work, so I knew that the day would have been paid for. I was just like, we could have did this earlier, but it wasn't something that I was upset about. So I definitely wasn't upset because I had to take you to the thing. If anything made me upset, it was because you was grumpy. You was just so grumpy. And the funny thing about your Achilles is that as quick as the injury came, I felt like as soon as it was getting better, it was better. Like, it was like, yeah, one day, oh, I can stand on it. But then it was like super quick that you were good. But that whole process from getting... No. I'm sorry, guys. Why didn't you just ask for help? Sorry, guys. The children are in the room. But as soon as, you know, it was like, okay, he was hurt, and then he was out of commission, and then he was able to stand on it, and then he was
out of commission for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I think you would have been in commission if you just would have definitely
stayed off it. If I hadn't went to work,
of it the way that the doctor told you to.
Yeah, because she insisted that I not go to work, but I insisted that I go to work. Rightfully so. Wouldn't you agree?
Rightfully so? No.
Why shouldn't we? Okay, well.
Well, because
in that case, I wish that I would have known that you didn't have the same.
I wasn't gonna fight with you on it.
I'm saying no, it's not about fighting. I wish I would have known that you didn't have the same desire of the importance of me going to work.
Well, no, because no. Because what we're gonna do is I told you that you didn't need to go. I said the most important thing, because you're like, oh, we need the money, we gotta do this and we gotta do that. Yeah, that's understandable. Yeah, I know that, but at this point in time, I kept saying your health is more important. But what I wasn't going to do is I wasn't going to fight with you about it. I already knew that you was grumpy. I already knew that you had a whole bunch of stuff on your mind and stuff like that. If you felt like that you could have went, then you definitely make the choice that you should go. I said my piece. I told you that you are, you know, your health is what's important, and that the lady said that you need to be off of it for 3 days. You need to be off of it for 3 days. And you was insisted on going.
Yeah.
At that point in time, I'm like, okay. But then when you left early, and I was like, okay. You was like, I'm leaving work. Good. Go home and rest. And then the next day, you was like, I don't think I'm going to go. Or,
yeah, and I didn't go the next day, I think. Right?
And I'm like, good. You shouldn't have went on Monday.
Man, it was so much pain.
Or Tuesday.
Yeah, no, because what happened was I didn't go on Monday, and then I think I didn't go on Tuesday, right? You didn't go
on Monday because you went to
because we went to the doctor. Care. But then I think I didn't go on
Tuesday. You didn't go on Tuesday. You went on Wednesday for a half a day, and then I think I
went in on Thursday.
Tried to go in on Thursday. I think you end up leaving like right one time because you was real hurt. But yeah, I mean.
It just started like on that Tuesday, like the first day after the going to urgent care, like that. It hurt so much because like I said, it's my Achilles, so it's my heel.
And the lady was pressing on it.
Yeah, so I'm driving to work. I'm trying to drive to work. Like I didn't even get to work. I got the daycare. I got the kids to daycare and was like, yo, this is not going to happen. Like my foot is just too much pain. So that was rough. That was rough for me to have to deal with all of the stuff that we're dealing with. This is 20 days of stress, major stress. And we finally are getting through this. We're in our new place, and immediately I'm disabled and I can't help us move. I can't help us settle. I can't help us do this. I can't go to work.
Though.
I know. I'm talking about the stuff in the house. We had hella stuff to do. Like we're getting to an okay place now. I think that we would be further than this had it not been for my 2 weeks disabled.
But you made it seem like we needed to move the whole house. I know what you're talking about, but I'm just saying like that's not the case. Like, you know, the boxes there were a lot of boxes, but they weren't in the way. They were all up against the wall.
But they were stressing you out.
Only because I wanted to make sure that we sprayed before we got there. But of course, you know, sometimes people just don't listen to you. And we didn't end up spraying because I said, hey, Verse, did you call the people so that they could spray? Oh, no, I forgot. And then I said it again. I said, hey, babe, did you spray? Did you call the people so they could spray before we move in? Oh, no, darn, I forgot. And then what happened when we got here? It was like a spider or something. And I just looked at him. I was just like, you didn't spray. So at this point in time, we have to move all of the boxes that are now against the wall. We have to move everything in the middle of the floor so that the exterminator can make sure that they come in, because I do not do bugs. So they had to make sure that we moved everything in front of the thing. He can't move anything, which I'm not upset because he is physically not able to move any boxes. My whole thing was, I asked you to do this before we got here. So it wasn't stressing me out that there were so many boxes. The issue was that we had to move the boxes in order for the exterminator to come in, and then we had to move the boxes back, you know, in order for everything to be neater. So that was the only issue. But I mean, you know, after a couple of days, you could every day, or, you know, we try to get down 2 boxes. And even though you can't move, you know, anywhere, which is fine, then I'll do a couple boxes that day. I'll do a couple boxes the next day, and they'll end up getting, I mean, we're in here now. So I was just like, you know, it's not a big deal. But I mean, just the boxes themselves. But after about a week, I was like, okay, I got to get these boxes out faster than what I've been doing.
And that's what I mean.
So, but I was just after a week. Now, after, you know, it's just like, okay, I just got to be better. But I was upset with you about the boxes.
Oh, I'm not saying you're upset with me about the boxes. I was saying I was upset because I couldn't help you guys with the boxes. And the boxes were stressing you out at a certain point in time. You wanted the boxes to be gone. You wanted us to be further along in unboxing things. And it was stressful for me because I wanted to be able to help. And I was disabled. That's all I'm talking about.
But I don't understand how that was stressful for you.
Because I wanted to help.
But okay,
I'm usually the helper.
But everybody wants $1 million. But that you gonna stress about it? Like, you can't stress because you're hurt. The best thing that you could do is have several seats and put your foot up and ice it and do what you're supposed to do. You
have to understand that I have, in my mind, I have a role in this family, and I want to be able to execute that role. I understand I'm hurt, but my team is still playing. Like, I'm not hurt and the game's canceled. My team's still playing, and I can't help my team, so it's a little stressful.
And I get that, but at the same time, how is it going to be beneficial to the team if you were supposed to be out for 3 days and now you're out for 2 weeks because you're not listening to what the doctor said? Right.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that in that situation it's like, oh well, yeah, I need to go ahead and play. I'm just saying I can't play. I know I can't play. I've tried to play even though I'm hurt.
If you not only can you not play, so you're feeling stressful, but for that, but how is it helping the team if you mad, you sitting there looking like a grumpy old man with your crutches? That doesn't help the team either. Like, you ain't on the sidelines just boom bombing. You ain't had your pom poms out.
You feel like my attitude negatively affect the team?
Yeah, Well, I don't think it's negatively affected us. We was just like, we probably gave you a pass because you're not normally grumpy. Like, you're not normally not all smiles.
It was just hard.
And helpful and, doing things. So we definitely gave you a pass because we know that that's definitely out of character for you. But with it being out of character for you, it was out of character. So it was like you being upset and grumpy is just like, man, like, what the heck? Like, I understand that you're upset that you can't do things, but it threw everybody for a loop that you were so upset. It wasn't like, okay, well, I can't do anything, but I'm going to be like, oh, yeah, well, you can do it. And all right, we could, just a couple more days, guys. It was just like, I'm upset. Like, it was just like, goodness, I pray that he hurry up and get better. So, but I mean, I don't think it negatively impacted us. It was just kind of a shock that you were so upset the way you were.
Yeah, it was just really hard. A lot of pain, and I couldn't walk. Like, for anybody who's never been in a situation where you couldn't walk, it's like, yo, that shit made me realize, like, how important, like, I couldn't walk, bro. Like, listen to me. I couldn't walk. Like, I couldn't move around or do nothing. Like, and especially with Captain General Simone and her goddamn cadets snitching on me all the time.
Sure did, because I had to go to the store, and I was like, you make sure that Daddy does not move, and if he does, you better call me. And then Brother's man go tell him that she a spy.
Snitch and snitchettes.
And so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, teach my babies your snitching ways.
Yeah, they're supposed to tell me. That's the relationship that we have. If anything happens, the first person you will call is Mom, and Mom is gonna make sure that it's taken care of. You can talk to me about anything, but yes, I enlisted them to tell, because what was the first thing that you tried to do when I left to go to the store? You tried to get up and do stuff. Now, Mom said. And I was like, even if it gets to the point, you could take a picture, send it to me. You could do video, send it to me, give me a call, and be like, Daddy is up right now doing stuff. Mm-hmm. They surely did tell. I was so happy. I was like, good job, guys.
It was just Leah. You took Larry with you.
Yeah, and Leah did a good job.
Yeah. Bruh, snitch.
Don't say that about her.
Bruh, snitch. That's going to be the name of this episode, bruh. Snitch.
No, it's not. That is not going to be
the name of the episode will be Terrell Don't Listen, because you said I don't listen like 6 times this episode.
Because you don't. You don't listen to me. You'd rather listen to Google or WebMD.
It's not that
or the doctor or I forgot. So I'm used to you not listening. But then it also, when it comes back to maybe Z does know a little bit about what you're talking about, then I got to look at the husband's club face where you're looking like, oh, I should have listened to you. And the face looking all sad.
I'm the second to say it. But I always say it. I never, and it's never that I think you're wrong.
It's what?
It's that sometimes I don't be wanting to, like, in the situation where we're in the situation we're talking about right now, I wanted to have more knowledge of this thing that I was getting. Like, you couldn't tell me that what I had was an Achilles tendonitis. Like, that I wanted to be more educated on this specific injury and how you're supposed to care for this specific injury, because it's not the same as my knee injury. You know what I'm saying? It was just a situation where I wanted to be more educated. And in this day and age where you have the information, yeah, it was the same treatment, but it's the same treatment as far as like the ice, the elevation and resting and stuff like that. But as far as like my knee issue, I can operate with my knee being a certain way. If it gets really, really bad, then I can't walk on it. But when my knee is going through the pain that I have on a normal basis, then I can get through that. I can move around still.
Thing. The same way I told you to elevate your knee, to ice your knee, to get off your knee is the same thing I told you about your Achilles. Right. Get off your Achilles, elevate your Achilles, and ice it. And on both occasions, it was Verse gonna do what Verse want to do. That needs to be the name of the podcast. Is Verse gonna do what Verse want to do? And after that, I just be like, okay, Verse, go ahead, baby. And then I just let you do it. And then when you come back and be like, oh, I should listen, I just smile and I be like, okay, let's fix it. Now we got to fix it because you didn't want to listen to me from the beginning. Mm-hmm. But it's fine. It's not a big deal. It's just the way that things have been. And I love you.
I love you too.
You over there looking sad.
Because the whole episode been about me not listening.
I've only been telling the truth. I've only been telling
every time, like every look, I'm gonna go through the episode and put little pins, and I'm gonna be like, oh, boom, at this second, at this minute, and this time, she said, I don't listen. You got a problem?
How you gonna
we gotta duke something out.
We can. How you gonna be upset with me? I bet.
Because we can fight after the podcast, and just know that you've been talking a lot of shit on the podcast tonight.
The only thing,
just know that you've been talking a lot of shit on the podcast tonight.
I've been telling the truth.
Go to bed. We have to go.
That's
to bed.
not fair because all I did was tell the truth. That's it. I told you that I said, hey, babe, do this. Babe, you should do this. Babe, you should try this. Babe, I think you need to do this. It's not my fault that Babe decided to do something else. Babe decided to do it his way. Babe decided that, either I forgot or I'm going to do it my way. And then
You ain't never heard the phrase, father knows best? No.
I'm pretty sure that I have heard the saying.
No, it's not. It's mother knows best. I've never heard somebody say father knows
best. I've heard fathers say fathers know best, and then the moms be looking at them like.
I've never heard the phrase father knows best.
I've heard it from fathers. I know what I'm doing. It's a man's world and all that other bull crap. It is a man's world. And then it's just like, oh, okay, well, go ahead, man, do your thing, man. And then when you do your thing. Do you have husband's club face? And I just be looking at you. And now we got to fix it because the man. Gonna fix it. You're not being fair. Whatever. I'm not listening to you. Don't be trying to strong arm me and and all of that stuff just because I was right. Like,
it's okay. Just know.
Maybe that you see that you don't listen to me. Maybe that'll help you to listen to me in the future.
I apologize that I don't listen to you. We have to end with love now.
I love the way you don't listen to me. No, I think I said it on the collab, but it's basically the same thing.
No, new thing.
Don't tell me what to say.
You have to give a new thing.
No, I don't. First of all, don't try to make rules.
Simone, it's always got to be new thing.
No, first of all, you never said it had to be a new thing. And second of all, since we're now talking about it, I can still piggyback off of it. And do not tell me that I can't say what I want to say.
All right, say what you're going to say then. Go ahead.
Gosh, y'all boy be tripping, man.
Okay, Z.
Anyway,
Okay.
Living with love before you make me throw something at you. Mm-hmm. Back to what I was saying before I was very, very rudely interrupted.
Carry on.
I will again say that I definitely appreciate how strong you were doing this whole process. Because I remember right at the very, very end of moving out the house, your boy wanted to mop the living room because the house, the living room and the hallways were wood floors. And the very last thing we really needed to do was leave, but he wanted to make sure that the house was all spick and span and all that stuff. So he wanted to mop. And I was so annoyed that he wanted to mop this floor. And I'm just like, effing kidding me that you want to mop? We talking about mopping? Like, I was so upset. I'm just like, what? And so, he was, even though I was irrational and I was tired and all of that, he just was like, we gotta finish the job. And so he wanted to mop. And I knew at that point in time, I was extremely flammable. I was pissed that he wanted to. I was so tired. And he still did it. And, he acknowledged that I was upset, but I had to go collect myself because I was extremely upset. But with that, I guess I'm just saying that you were extremely strong. Like, even when I was bending, even when I was upset and crying and didn't know and felt like I couldn't provide for my family. Not because we didn't have the money to, but because it was just out of our control.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate how strong you were, because the strength that you had allowed me to be like, all right, this ain't you. Shake that S off and get it together. And as you guys can see, I haven't really cussed on the podcast because,
I was going to mention that earlier. But.
The lint that I had was that, I was going to cuss for 40 days, which I have slipped up a couple of times, but,
a couple.
Haters always gonna hate. But yes, I've slipped up a couple of times, but ever since that me and the kids and Verse was like, we're gonna do this Lent, I feel like we were getting hit harder. And basically the Lent is you make a sacrifice, something that you normally do on an everyday basis for Jesus, because he gave up his life for us. And no, it's mainly like a Catholic thing. We're not Catholic, but I just thought that it was a really good thing to do. He sacrificed his life for us, so why not? And I mean, we can't do anything in this life ever to equal to what Jesus did for us, but I just think that it's something good to do. And once we decided that we were gonna do something for Jesus, I just felt like we were getting hit, and we were getting hit hard, like big whammies that try to knock your head off. Mm-hmm. But anyway, but during this time, like, you never folded. Like, it was a couple times where you were very discouraged, and I could hear it in your voice, but you stayed strong, and you stayed the rock, and you stayed positive, and we stayed prayed up, and we still staying prayed up. But, that was one thing I really loved and admired about the situation, because even when I couldn't take the weight anymore, not only did you carry the weight that was on my shoulders, but you picked me up and you carried me for that moment and was like, it's gonna be fine, we're good, like, we're good. Which made me be like, all right, Simone, stop being a punk, get yourself together. Like, okay, you spent your 10 minutes wailing, all right, shake it off like a duck with water running down his back. You shake it off, and you're good now. And I admired you for that, and I still admire you because you're very strong, and people look up to you. But I just love you for your strength, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. You always, I always hate you go first because you always you give a long, like yours. I feel like mine. I feel like I can never be. But no. What I love about you is your composure through the situation. I'm just speaking mainly about when we moved here and when I had to deal with my leg and you guys dealing with me, and me exerting that energy in negative ways and stuff like that. So I just really love that you were composed. You stayed on top of things, like with the house still function, without my help, which is sometimes, depressing. Like, damn, everybody can just keep it going without me.
Y'all can keep it going without me.
But like you stayed composed. You was cooking still. It was make sure the house was clean. You were unpacking stuff as much as you could, and you never really got upset with me, based because of how, upset I was because of how I was acting and because of me not listening and stuff like that. And I just love that you were composed in the situation, because even though I would have asked for a little more babying during that situation, because I think that would have made me feel a lot better, because you gave me a lot of tough love during those 2 weeks. And although tough love does keep the person going, maybe baby, I just love to be baby. And I put my head right there on them titties, and I'd be like, yeah, I am.
But you can
safe.
say that once you did let me know that I was being too tough on you, that, I needed to balance it out. I did balance it out a little bit more, but a couple times, like I can't just hear you be so upset about something that you cannot change.
Right.
It's like you can't sit there and wallow in the fact that your leg is hurt. I understand it and I get it and it sucks and I wish I could take it from you. But you being grumpy to all the people that's here to help you ain't gonna work.
And it sucked the first week. The first week I definitely was. The second week I was a lot better. The second week I was a lot better with my attitude. I just was like, yo, this not being able to walk shit is crazy. It does make me, whether people may feel like I was, I'm being dramatic with it, with that thought, but it just made me be gracious for being able to walk, because I don't know what I'd be able to do if I just wasn't, if I became like paralyzed or some shit, that, what I'm saying? I don't know what I would do. So at that point in time, I started just being happy that I was waking up in the morning and that I knew this was an injury that would pass. Mm-hmm. So I think the second week my attitude was a lot better. But like I said, you stayed in the pocket, you stayed composed through that first week where I was fucking nightmare. And I love you for that.
I love you too. I mean, I definitely do understand what it's like not to walk, because I've had 2 C-sections, mm-hmm. and they do that epidural and you're from the waist down, you can't feel nothing. Mm-hmm. And I will say that is the most horrible part of giving birth to me. Like, yeah, it takes away the contractions, but me not being able to physically move my legs and there is no feeling there, I almost freaked out twice. And that was the first time when I was having breast man. It was when I was delivering Lyric into this world, and I just had to, it's a mind thing, because it's like, okay, this is gonna pass, but then you're like, okay, what if they did something wrong? What if my legs never work again? Like, what in the heck? And it's and I have anxiety, so my anxiety was through the roof. They had to, once the baby was out, they had to give me something that I was cool to basically be like, okay, you gotta, in that epidural, you gotta ride it out. You gotta ride it out until it's, until you're not able to, until you're able to get your feeling back, basically. Yeah. And I think with breast man, before the C-section, and because I was in labor so long, I was in labor for about 12 to 15 hours. So it was, I couldn't move my legs for 12 hours. For a good, now I would say a good 11 hours, they were numb, and I couldn't move them. But as but when we came back and I was good. For Lyric, I knew that I wasn't able to. And even though they gave me medicine, once they rolled me back into the room, the feeling started to come back quicker. And I would say quicker only because of the 12 hours. It wasn't 12 hours, but it seemed quicker. And like I could feel it from, okay, I can feel my waist now. Mm-hmm. Okay, I can start to feel my thighs now, but I still can't move like my feet. Mm-hmm. And then there's, as it started to leave, it was like, okay. And the more that it started to go down, that I started to feel it, my mind got better, because it's like, okay, just ride it out a little bit more, because now look, we can feel our thighs, we can feel our knees. It was leaving. But that I definitely do understand, because I feel, I wouldn't say I feel pity or sorry for someone. I can definitely relate to a person who, I definitely show a lot of empathy to someone who's paralyzed. And even when I watch, like Grey's Anatomy or something like that, and someone goes paralyzed, I'd be like, oh Lord, that was so bad. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's why when you told me, I did give you more compassion. I had to baby you a little bit more, do some of your favorite things, because you was hurt.
I hope you do some of my favorite things tonight.
Thank you guys for joining us. We definitely do appreciate all of our listeners, and for continuing on this ride with us of this thing we call life, and listening to all of our crazy stories. We have a lot more stories to tell about our relationship. And
what are you doing?
You was really, what is you looking at?
You had your dress up.
Instead of telling me, hey, babe, your dress is up, you was just sitting there looking like a perv. Anyway, we definitely do appreciate you, and we will be talking about more of our crazy stories and life things on our next podcast.
We hope you guys are relating to, and that's mainly why we tell our shit. A lot of people will probably be like, you tell all your shit. Well, everybody goes through this, so most people that are listening, they go through the same shit. A lot of our friends went through the exact same thing that we went through with the house situation, so we've all swapped stories. Like, it's nothing. I mean, Tell it. So yeah, big shout out to you know what? I ain't never used these on our podcast. But I want to use one right now. I want to give a shout out to Sarah. What? Oh, hold up. There we go. Shout out to Sarah. That's for Sarah. And that's for Ralph.
Oh, wait a minute. The owner.
That's for the owner.
So disrespectful.
All that. All that. So, anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I am VA Verse. Across from me is always, hold on, I want to do it like, across from me, always as I see, is the beautiful, incomparable, wonderful Z, who is so important to me.
You got to listen to for better or worse. Thank you guys for coming over.
We'll see y'all next week, next Sunday.
Okay, why you gotta be so loud? Like, Sunday.